Now, illegal mining in Ghana triggered a spat between illegal small-scale miners as well as expatriates. Even though the push to crack down on illegal mining won praise from the public, this nearly caused security instability in these mining areas, according to research done by WANEP. Now, the government has drafted plans to help restore and maintain peace and security in these respective areas with the help of other institutions like WANEP Ghana. The voluntary principles on security and human rights in the mining, oil and gas sectors are a set of principles designed to guide companies in maintaining the safety and security of their operations within an operating framework that encourages respect for human rights. It was started by the Fund for Peace and the West Africa Network for Peace Building, WANEP Ghana, to support government in its implementation of its National Action Plan on the voluntary principles. We're joined by the Acting National Network Coordinator for WANEP Ghana, Albert Young, via Skype to go a lot more into this matter. Sir, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Now, tell us a bit more about this voluntary principles on security and human rights. What really is it?
Thank you so much, and good afternoon to your listeners and viewers. I think that the VPs were a set of guidelines established in 2000 by companies, governments, civil society organizations. So it's a multi-stakeholder initiative that tend to guide companies in terms of how they maintain their security, safety, whilst ensuring that the human rights of people, are respected. So basically, that is what the VPs is all about. Right. It involves governments, companies, and then society. So we have about 3 pillars on that initiative.
So which industry players usually are supposed to be using this, and how exactly is it applied?
I think that currently it was started for the mining, oil and gas, and by companies that are in the leading companies. You can talk about Talo, Cosmo, Anglo Gold, ENI, Cosmo. All these companies that are operating in Ghana and elsewhere are using the principles to guide their operations. It's also been applied in construction and agriculture. So because it's an industry practice, it can be adopted for several industries. Yeah.
Well, Mr. Yingang, let me find out from you whether there is a relationship between the VPs and, for example, what happened at the Midland Savings and Loans.
Yes, there is a relationship. Let me say that the VPs, under the UN principle, is supposed to guide companies that want to engage public and private securities, select the kind of staff that they want to guide their premises, because there are guidelines. For instance, how would they respect the rights of people? I mean, the human rights of people that are found within the premises, whilst ensuring that there is security of the premises and the company. So it's a kind of a thin line they have to work. So there is a kind of relation. And when that incident, key questions that could be asked, for instance, how did the company, Midland Savings and Loans Company, yes, do its due diligence to ensure that the staff that was supplied by the police was of standard, of certain decision, that staff would act within the standards, human rights principles that expected of a security person, public at that matter.
Is that more of the responsibility of the police? Would that be more of the responsibility of the company recruiting or employing these personnel to ensure safety?
Both. The service itself also needs to be sure that the person that is allowed to guard the premises, or that they are asking to go and guard the premises, is of the standard that is within the service and that this person is not seen to be one that does not really meet the standards that the police are providing their personnel. So whilst the company has a responsibility to do that, and indeed that's also within the UN business and human rights standards principles.
Okay. So
the company, the police also needs to do that.
Okay, so let me bring it back to the oil and gas business and the mining business, especially, which has been a very an area of concern as far as security, is concerned. What will this mean to communities where you have mining activities ongoing? Usually there are a lot of issues between the community members who feel entitled to the natural resource, and then you have people who have licenses, some who don't have licenses, who are also operating. How does the VP system address this very delicate balance?
Let me say that again, the VPs is supposed to be applied in the communities where these oil mining and gas operations are taking place. Whilst the companies provide security for their premises and the company itself, company staff, they also need to make sure that the communities within which they operate, the rights of the people are protected, are not abused, because they also have to share the space and the benefits that will be driven from the operations of the company. So there is the need to respect how the security operatives, public and private, go about their, ensuring security needs to be within the principle, the framework of the VPs.
Right.
The tenants, so that they do not abuse the rights of people.
They abuse the rights of people.
How they move about, how they have access to certain facilities, in terms of how they engage by the companies in terms of local content.
Okay, now here in Ghana, we know that we have a major issue with illegal mining, and so what government has done, and a lot of us have praised government when they pushed the Operation Vanguard team into the forest to go and stop illegal mining. These are soldiers, military persons who are trained in a very different and a very peculiar way. To what extent are they involved in this VP usage, and will it work? Because they are going to, these are soldiers, like I said, and they're going to have to engage, civilians.
The security services, the military and the police, they have their own framework in terms of what they describe as rules of engagement. Within that framework is what the VPs can reside. Talking about the rights of people. So what we know is that the military has its own modus operandi in terms of how they engage in ensuring security. The police are. But let me say, when they were doing one of the trainings, WANEP Ghana, the Fund for Peace, supported in the training at Bonase to let them know that while they are deployed, they also need to be exposed to certain standards in terms of ensuring that the rights of those people, the communities that they are operating in, are still respected, while implementing government's mandate. So indeed, the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources is aware of that and knows that the security personnel that are deployed need to operate within the framework.
Find out and wrap up this conversation by knowing who are the main participants in this program. Is it just government, civil society, the companies? Who are they?
This program is supported by several stakeholders. You have the U.S. State Department supporting it. We have the U.S. Embassy, we have the Netherlands Embassy, the Canadian High Commission, Australian, several stakeholders are supporting AFRICOM, that's the U.S. Africa Command, supporting all the national communication, while the government is expected to lead this process.
It looks like we've lost Albert Yoyang there via the Skype feed there. Albert Yoyang there is national coordinator for WANEP Ghana. They're explaining to us what these VPs mean. It's basically about ensuring that security agencies or security organizations or security personnel for mining companies, etc., do their work well, respecting the human rights of the civilians or the other people that they come into contact with.